angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, while the bush is not burnt. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I. Praise God for the reading of his word. Now, I'm going to try and preach this. It's a good thing I'm up in the pulpit, right? But I've always loved that scripture. You know, anytime I'm going to preach that passage of scripture, I'm going to tell you I love it just because of God's heart, his tenderness. You know, Moses was a broken man. His life had been broken. Emotionally, he was broken. You know, when we go further on, you look at the discourse that the Lord has with him in that burning bush experience. I mean, he's got a lot of excuses for himself. Moses did not see himself highly, see himself as being as high. You know, and when the Lord was telling him to go speak to Pharaoh, he said, well, you know, he's a man of stammering lips and all of this. He had problems. And God called him to that spot, drew his attention. And it was as the word says, when the Lord saw that Moses, his attention was on him, he came there, then he started to speak. And there was a lot that the Lord wanted to say to him. A lot that needed to be done in Moses. See, when he turned to see the burning bush and when he left, he was a different man. Now, he wasn't complete as God had intended him to be. There was going to be a process. But he was a different man. He was a man that was beginning and ready to step out in what the Lord had prepared for him for his whole life. And I just love the fact that God appeared as a flame in a burning bush. Now Moses, he had a good beginning, and he had bad choices later in life. The reason he was there was because of his choices. And I want to read this to you. In Acts 7:20 through 29. It says, in which time Moses was born, was exceeding fair, and nourished up in his father's house 3 months. And when he was cast out, Pharaoh's daughter took him up and nourished him for her own son. And Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians, and was mighty in words and in deeds. And when he was full 40 years old, it came into his heart to visit his brethren, the children of Israel. And seeing one of them suffer wrong, he defended him and avenged him that was oppressed, and smote the Egyptian. For he supposed his brethren would have understood how that God by his hand would deliver them. But they understood not. And the next day he showed himself unto them as they strove, and would have set them at one again, saying, Sirs, you are brethren, why do you wrong one to another? But he that did his neighbor wrong thrust him away, saying, Who made you a ruler and a judge over us? Will you kill me, as you did the Egyptian yesterday? Then he fled, Moses at this saying, and was a stranger in the land of Midian, where he begat 2 sons. See, his life was a shambles. And you know, he knew, this is the thing about Moses, and there are people like this, that he knew God was going to use him. He was 40 years old, he knew it.